And he was in I would imagine it looked like he was in a lot of pain. So there was a tire iron there. I took the tire iron and hit him with it, which knocked him out. And he died. I then took him and put him in a 50-gallon drum, put it on the side of a motel. It was behind Harry's Corner. I listened to the people. I went in Harry's every morning. The thing was there for a long time. I looked at it every day. It was there. I went in Harry's every day. One day it was just missing. Continued to go in Harry's to see if anything was said about it. Nothing was said. I don't know what happened to the drum.
By the 1980s, Kuklinski was involved in narcotics, pornography, arms dealing, money laundering, hijacking, and contract killing on a worldwide basis. He was also pressing 50 and getting tired. He started to make mistakes. He began to leave traces, and law enforcement officers who had suspected him over the years began gathering evidence. Kuklinski would protect himself by killing anyone who could testify against him. On December 27, 1982, a body was discovered at the York Motel in New Jersey. The body was identified as Gary Smith, 37. Smith had been given cyanide and then strangled to death. This was the first of many mistakes Kuklinski was to commit.
Gary Smith was found under a motel bed in New Jersey, as I recall, where some 20 people had used the room in 5 days and nobody had realized there was a rotting body underneath it. The body was found in a decomposed state. It was very hot weather. Smith would have not been identified as a murder victim if he had died only of the cyanide. If the cyanide had worked and he had died, and he didn't need to be strangled, that ligature mark around the neck wouldn't have been seen, and he would have been possibly a drug addict overdose, or lots of other things of a non-homicidal nature would have to be considered.
On September 25, 1983, the body of Louis Masgay was found. As he had done many times before to confuse the time of death, Kuklinski had frozen the body in an industrial freezer. This was the murder that earned him the name of Iceman. This murder was also his second deadly mistake.
He did too good a job in that body because he left that body in the freezer for 2 years, then took the body out and dumped it in Rockland County, and the body was found before it had fully thawed out. So the doctor doing the autopsy, the medical examiner in Rockland County, when he opened the body up, saw ice inside the body in the summer's day and said, there's something wrong here. This guy could not have died 2 days ago the way he looks like from the outside.
On May 14, 1983, a bicyclist was riding down a lonely road in a wooded area and saw a buzzard feeding on a body. It was Daniel Deppner, 44, the third business associate of Richard Kuklinski, to be found dead. The body count grew. There would soon be 5 unsolved murders with one thing in common. The last person to see the victims alive had been Richard Kuklinski. After 30 years of getting away with murder, Richard Kuklinski's time was running out. He had been under investigation for 3 years, and the police were beginning to put the pieces together.
What I told my superiors in Trenton was that, hey, look, you know, we can check with the FBI and we can see that there's a certain number of given serial killers roaming around this country of ours. But take a good hard look at what we got here. We got Richie Kuklinski, and there's only one of him.
In 1986, a division of the New Jersey Criminal Justice Department set up a task force made up of federal, state, and local law enforcement agencies. The task force analyzed existing investigative material and gathered new information. They had one mission: to arrest and convict Richard Kuklinski.
When I first read the file, which at the time was nothing more than a compilation of several different unsolved homicides, the more you looked for connections, the less you found in this particular case, because there was different types of murders, different devices used. The final method that was used was, in fact, the introduction of a undercover federal agent, Dominic Polifrone, who was able to win Mr. Kuklinski's confidence and was able to record conversations where he detailed his participation in these murders.
I portrayed myself as a hitman. Told him I worked for the wise guys downtown New York, and my brother was a good fella downtown, and I went by the name of Dominic Michael Provenzano.
You willing to go out on a contract? If the price is right, I'll talk to anybody. Yeah? Sure. And you mean to tell me your way is nice and clean and nothing fucking shows up? Well, it may show, my friend, but it's quiet. It's not messy. It's not noisy. It's not, you know. Yeah, but how the fuck do you put it together, like, you know what I'm saying? Oh, there's always a way. There's a will, there's a way, my friend.
We used to sit down, we talk. Either we'd go to those tables over there and get away from people, and we discuss how to murder people.
You know, I just have a few problems I want to dispose of. I have some rats I want to get rid of. Yeah. The only fucking thing I don't understand, don't you use a fucking piece of iron to get rid of these fucking people? Use this fucking cyanide? Why be messy? You can do it nice and calm.
It became apparent at later points in the investigation that Mr. Kuklinski fully intended on murdering Dominic Polifrone, in addition to the victims that were being discussed at the time they were having these tape-recorded conversations. So he could pretty much tell Dominic Polifrone anything, because he knew shortly that he had plans for Mr. Polifrone too.
You put that stuff in a mist, you spray it in somebody's face, and they go to sleep. No shit. As long as he's dead, that's the bottom line. Well, that's the thing, isn't it? No matter how it was done, I mean, I know guys that went to sleep and never woke up again. I mean, you know.
He says he had one guy, he went and get a hamburger, they come back and he put the cyanide on his hamburger. And we're sitting down and he's telling me, he says, you wouldn't believe it. He says, I'm waiting for this guy to keel over. He says, because once you eat cyanide, usually you'd roll over and that's it. He says, this guy had the constitution of a fucking bull. He says, you wouldn't believe it. He says he wouldn't die, and we're both laughing about this. And I'm saying in the back of my mind, I said, holy God. I said, look at this. I said, what kind of person is this? I said to myself right there, I said, you better cover your butt. I said, because you just don't know with this guy. And he'd be kidding about it, and I'd be laughing. In the back of my mind, I'm saying, this is the devil. No question about it, this is the devil.
On December 17, 1986, the Special Task Force set up a roadblock and arrested Richard Kuklinski outside his home in Dumont, New Jersey. They felt they had all the evidence they needed for a conviction.
The whole road was blocked off with cops. Local police, state police, Division of Criminal Justice investigators, county personnel. There was no place for him to go, so he stopped his car. He was told to get out of the car, and he did not. So he was taken out of the car, and he was placed face down on a street in a position where we thought we were safe. And then I handcuffed him. That guy's big. I did everything I could to get one click on the handcuffs. And later on, I tried to put leg irons on him, and there's no way they would go on. They just wouldn't go on.
Law enforcement authorities have arrested one of the most notorious contract killers in state history. A self-employed Bergen County man is behind bars, charged with 5 murders, and prosecutors are investigating his involvement in dozens more.
This is unwarranted, unnecessary. These guys watch too many movies.
He is such a cold-blooded killer, they call him the Iceman. After being convicted of 2 murders, he confessed to 2 others in court today.
I shot George Malvin 5 times. Louis Masgay on July 1st, 1981. I shot him once in the back of the head.
When the judge asked him why he had killed the 2 men, Kuklinski replied,
It was due to business.
Dominic Polifrone's tapes had nailed Kuklinski, but in court, the Iceman greeted the undercover cop with a smile.
He seemed to be quite cheery about saying hello to you.
Well, I reciprocated. The only thing is, I'm going home, and he's going to a different environment at the present time.
It wasn't real to us. We just had a hard time dealing with what was in the press. And I kept saying, no way, and I don't believe it. And then when I actually heard his voice, you know, in court, it was very hard to believe that he talked like that. It was very, very difficult to believe.
I've done it always. As far as you've known or heard, there isn't too many things I haven't tried. No matter how it was done. I mean, I know guys that went to sleep and never woke up again. I mean, you know.
The consensus of the federal, state, county, and local law enforcement agencies that were involved in this investigation is that Richard Kuklinski is one of the most dangerous criminals we have ever come across in this state. Further, it's our feeling that he is of such a diabolical, methodical type of killer that it's very possible that when all is said and done, we still may never know how many people he has actually killed.
What Richard has been accused of and found guilty of and spoke to you about goes against God and man. I have very strong feelings. I am totally anti-violence. I mean, as are my children. And I can't make those wrongs right. I can't make them right in my own mind. We are Richard Kuklinski's family, and we aren't ourselves anymore. We're Richard Kuklinski's family.
I've never felt sorry for anything I've done other than hurting my family. The only thing I feel sorry for. I'm not looking for forgiveness, and I'm not repenting. No, I'm wrong. I'm wrong. I do want my family to forgive me. Oh, boy. I'm gonna make this one. Oh, shit. This would never be me. This would not be me. I feel for my family. You see the Iceman cry. Not very macho. But I've heard people that mean everything to me. But the only people that mean